Hello and welcome to Philosophy Vibe, the channel where we discuss and debate different philosophical arguments. Today we're going to be looking at some philosophy of religion and focusing on a very big problem for theists, and that is the problem of evil. Now, there are two types of evil that exist. We have moral evil. That is evil that human beings do to each other, things like murder. And we have natural evil. This is bad that nature creates, things like hurricanes and tsunamis. The existence of both of these make a lot of problems for the Judeo-Christian belief in God. John, would you like to outline the argument?
Okay, so essentially, we know God to be an all-loving, all-powerful and all-knowing being. If this is the case, why is there evil? If God loved us, he would not want humans to suffer. If he knew everything, he would know all the evil that exists. And if he's all-powerful, he can stop it. So why is there evil?
I see the problem, and I'm going to try and solve it with the Augustinian Theodicy. St. Augustine argues that God did create the perfect world, the exact world that a benevolent and omnipotent God would be expected to make. God never created evil. Rather, evil is just a privation of goodness. Like darkness is the privation of light, it is not something that is created, it's just the absence of something else.
Right, okay.
Augustine then refers to the Bible in the book of Genesis, a perfect world where humans were given free will, as we saw within the story of Adam and Eve. God loves the humans and wants the humans to accept him, so by giving them free will, it allows the humans the will and the choice to either accept God or reject him. Unfortunately, Adam and Eve ate from the forbidden tree of knowledge and rejected God. They turned their back on him and his goodness, and their punishment brought about the evil we know of today. Once Adam and Eve committed the original sin, the world became distant from God and his goodness, and therefore evil flourished. Moral evil occurs because of man's disobedience and bad choices. Natural evil occurs because of nature turning against us and punishing us for rejecting God. And as we were all present within the loins of Adam, we must all suffer and live with evil as punishment.
Whoa, okay. Seems like God is not someone you want to upset.
Well, Augustine says he does give man a second chance, and that is by following the path of Jesus Christ. By accepting Jesus, you can be let back into paradise. So God still does love us and wants us all to go back to him and choose him again.
Well, that's good to know.
So then, if we accept the Augustinian Theodicy, we can see God does love us. He did create a perfect world where he wanted us to love him back and accept him. However, it was human free will that led to the original sin, which therefore means it was humans who brought about the evil in our world, not God, and every human must now deal with it. This then allows the existence of an omnibenevolent God along with evil in the world.
Wait a minute, not so fast. There seems to be a lot of problems with the Augustinian Theodicy.
Like what?
Well, firstly, it seems contradictory to say that God created the perfect world, yet it was still possible for evil to exist. How can this be? Surely if the world was perfect, it would be impossible for evil to ever exist, no matter what happened. This argument was raised by Schleiermacher. How can a perfect world have the possibility of evil? It's a logical contradiction. Either the world was never perfect to begin with, or, if it was perfect, then it means God purposely created evil, which Augustine said he didn't. So, which is it? Either way, it does not sound like something an all-loving God would do.
Good point.
Also, it was only Adam and Eve who disobeyed God, yet all humans have had to suffer evil. This does not seem like something an all-loving God would do. Why should I be punished for something that the very first human had done?
Yes, I see.
And finally, the whole theodicy relies on Genesis and the story of Adam and Eve as a fact. This story is inconsistent with scientific discoveries into the origins of humans and with the evolution of people and nature, so this throws the whole theodicy into doubt, and so does not help solve the problem of evil argument.
Okay, let me try another argument on you then.
Go for it.
The Irenean Theodicy, or as Hick later referred to it, the soul-making theodicy. Now, this argument does claim that God did in fact create the possibility of evil. However, he'd done it for a soul-making purpose. In order for good to exist, evil has to exist. If humans only lived in a world of good, we would never be able to recognize it. We can only recognize tall if we know what it means to be short. We can only recognize cold if we know what it is to be hot. So we can only recognize good if we know what evil is. Evil is therefore necessary in appreciating good.
Yeah, I understand that.
The soul-making theodicy then claims that God did not make humans perfect. Rather, he purposely made them imperfect, but gave them free will in order for humans to reach perfection through their own free choices. And in order for them to achieve perfection, they must make the right choices to get there. This makes it so much more worthwhile and special than just being created perfect. However, in order for there to be good choices, it means there must be bad choices, and these bad choices which some people choose is what causes evil. So the existence of evil is necessary in the path to achieving moral perfection. It helps us grow, it makes our soul. This then shows that evil can exist and God can still be all-loving and all-powerful.
Again, there are lots of problems with this argument as well.
Like what?
Well, firstly, it really only accounts for moral evil. So yes, I can see that with free will man must have the choice of evil, but why does the natural world have to be so evil? Why does there have to be earthquakes and tsunamis and diseases? This causes so much suffering. Why did God have to create such a harsh planet to live on? This doesn't seem like something an all-loving, all-powerful God would do.
Yeah, I see the problem.
And if we're just focusing on moral evil, why is it so unbalanced?
What do you mean?
Well, there are people who go through life and have had some really bad stuff happen to them, and other people who have never really suffered. If evil is necessary in making everyone's soul, why does everyone not experience it in the same amounts?
Okay, I got it.
I don't think the soul-making theodicy is sufficient in solving the problem of evil.
Right, okay, there's one last thing I want to touch on before we finish. What was central to both the Augustinian Theodicy and the Irenean soul-making theodicy?
Free will.
Yes, exactly, free will. Both theodicies try to shift the blame of evil onto people rather than God. We see how evil is the result of human choices. So God is still benevolent and wants people to do good, and he's still omnipotent, he just cannot intervene. As soon as God intervenes, it no longer becomes free will, and God is therefore controlling what humans do. So do you think free will defense is sufficient in itself to address the problem of evil?
No, I don't.
Why?
Well, firstly, as we saw with the Irenean Theodicy, it only explains moral evil. It does nothing for natural evil.
Yes, we saw that.
Also, I personally don't see a logical contradiction in having humans who freely choose, but only choose good. A similar point was raised by J.L. Mackie. Think about it. We have humans now who are faced with choices and freely choose good. So there is no contradiction in God creating all humans like this all the time. We would all have the freedom to choose wrong, but we never make that choice. If he was all powerful, he could do this, and if he was all loving, he would do this.
Okay.
And lastly, I think that God's omniscience poses a threat to free will in general.
Explain.
Well, if God knows everything, then he knows the future. And if you know the future, you know how an event is going to turn out before it's even happened. So if you know how an event is going to turn out, then it sort of means that it's predetermined. Let's go back to the Augustinian Theodicy and look at Adam and Eve.
Go for it.
If God is all-knowing and can see into the future, he would have known that Adam and Eve were going to eat from the forbidden tree before he had even created them. So their sin was established before they were even created. How then were they ever free not to choose what they chose? It seems God purposely created Adam and Eve with an intended destiny to commit the original sin, which would not make him benevolent. Or Adam and Eve did freely choose to sin, but God just had no idea it was going to happen. Then he is not omniscient nor omnipotent.
Very good argument. Now, if you enjoyed the problem of evil debate, please check out our book, Does God Exist? A Philosophical Inquiry. The problem of evil is covered in there quite extensively. Just visit philosophyvibe.com. It's available ebook and hardback. But that's all the time we have for now. Thank you for watching. We hope you enjoyed the vibe. Please leave your thoughts and comments below on the problem of evil. We'd be happy to hear them, and if we get some good debates going, we'd be happy to do a follow-up video and credit the posters. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Please help this channel grow. Thank you very much. Until next time.